Good afternoon or good morning if you're on the West Coast.
Welcome, everyone. We are streaming live all the way from SoHum Healing Resort. This is officially our second live webinar. The first one that we hosted, it was with Mitesh and Sneha, and we gave you a virtual tour of this beautiful resort that we opened back in April. And just to introduce ourselves, I'm Sandy, and I am an Ayurvedic ambassador, as I call myself, and do a little bit of everything here at Ayurveda and at SoHum. And I'm here today with Dr. Vrinda Devani, and she is a gynecologist. She focuses on women's health, hormones, menopause, menstrual, you name it. And the purpose of being here with her today is really to talk about the science of Ayurveda, and more specifically about Panchakarma, right? Because that is specifically what we do here at SoHum. It's a Panchakarma center. So Brenda, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I know a lot of people probably already know you, but
yeah, so it's like what Sandy said. I'm a board certified gynecologist, obstetrician gynecologist, and I've also studied Ayurveda. I'm a certified Ayurvedic practitioner. And have just been around Dr. Ladd, and I'm his groupie. I just follow him wherever he is, including to North Carolina. And so I teach at the Institute, and I support SoHum through just the programming and just the clinical aspect of it, as well as I support Ayurprana. I'm one of those people, I get bored if I do one thing all the time. So a lot of different hats, and it's super fun and just super nourishing to me. Yeah.
Nice. It's such a pleasure to be here with her. She's also a really good friend. I love her. So for any of you that have worked with her, seen her webinars, it's just incredible. Such an amount of knowledge. So let me see. I see someone is, okay, we just muted. All right. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing, these webinars, we're going to be hosting them once a month, and is with the idea of giving you a little bit of knowledge and background and information about what we do here at SoHum, but also in general about Ayurveda, about the different treatments that we do, Panchakarma, everything that goes into it. And it is really a science when we think about it. Ayurveda, the name of it, Aryu and Veda, is the science of life. So when we think about the science of life, is that connection with the mind, the body, and the spirit. We look at the whole mind, body, and spirit in a holistic way. And that is one of our unique value propositions when we think about healing an individual, because we're not only healing the body, it really focuses on everything. But going back to the science, this is where we're going to actually be asking, I'm going to be asking all the questions to Vrinda, so she can tell us all the things that go into a Panchakarma. So let's just, assume we don't know anything about it. How about we do that? So why don't you tell us first and foremost, what is Panchakarma?
Yeah, sure. So Panchakarma is a practice in Ayurveda that's been thousands of years old. So time tested. That's kind of what I, as a scientist, really, really appreciate, is that even in modern science, there are things that we talk about, and then like 10, 20 years later, we're like, yeah, not so right about that one, but man, this has been around for thousands of years. So to me, that speaks volumes. But it's Ayurvedic in origin, and it's a process of cleansing. So a lot of what we do, or what people practice in the West, when you just kind of see someone, here and there, it's what we call shamana, which is palliative care, which is really kind of balancing the doshas. It's rekindling the digestive fire. Panchakarma is in the realm of shodhana, which is cleansing. It's like cleansing the channels, cleansing the tissues. In Panchakarma, there are 5 main therapies. So Pancha means 5. Karma is action, so 5 actions that go into it. And so whether that's vastis or enemas, or that's purgation, or vamana, which is induction of emesis, which we do very sparingly here, there's 5 main therapies, including bloodletting, traditionally in India. But each one of these targets a different dosha. So there's a process of preparation of the body. So we can we don't just jump into the cleansing. You have to prepare the body, what we call purva rupa, which is a purva karma, is the action before the panchakarma. So there's a preparation of the body. And then once everything is super ripe, then there's a cleansing. And what I tell everyone is like, they talk about like, ooh, panchakarma, panchakarma. And I tell them that's just half the work. You
Yes.
come here, you
So
do that
true.
cleanse, and then you need to rebuild and re-nourish the body. So the work after is very important too. But that's panchakarma.
That is
great.
panchakarma,
Yeah.
right? And you touch a really important point, which is that preparation, because we can do, cleanses or immersions, but oftentimes it's just that time period where you're doing it. And one thing that I've noticed that is different here is that before, the during, and the after.
Yes.
So can you tell us about first the importance of actually preparing the body, like
totally.
what goes into it?
Yeah.
And then we'll go into what happens during.
Yeah. So, we spend a lot of time before clients even arrive with us because of this. And we actually have 2 group calls because we really want to drive home these points and make sure they fully understand and make sure we're meeting each person where they're at. But before, there are 2 main things that are happening. One is Deepan Pachan, which is kindling of the Agni, the digestive capacity. It's the power of transformation. So we can't do any cleansing without power transformation, right? So that's number 1. Pachan is, so Deepan and Pachan is the burning of Ama. So once you have good power transformation, you can start burning the toxins. So that's step 1, Deepan Pachan. Step 2 is Snehapan, which is oleation. So the way I describe this to people is that our bodies have a pretty good way, assuming your kidneys are working pretty decent and you're having decent bowel movements, our bodies have a pretty good way of getting rid of hydrophilics. If you think back to like high school chemistry, water loving chemicals or substances in the body, they'll get flushed out as long as you're drinking good water. Assuming you're drinking good water, which a lot of people aren't, by the way. Assuming you're drinking good water, your body will flush out hydrophilic toxins pretty well, fairly well. It's the lipophilic toxins that get stuck in our body. So lipophilic meaning fat loving. They go to the different crevices in the body. They go to fatty tissue. We were just talking in the last session that we had this coaching session we do every week about like breast cancer and breast tissue. They're so fatty. Most of our chemicals in the environment, pesticides, herbicides, are lipophilic. So I just think it's brilliant that thousands of years ago, they just had this insight to work specifically with the lipophilic substances to bring and loosen up those toxins in the body. So what's happening in those few days before, you're taking in large amounts of ghee on an empty stomach, and you literally become saturated with that ghee. You feel like your skin is oily. We have people tell us like, I have this like film on my eye and I can't get rid of it. It's the ghee. It's literally you're becoming saturated with the ghee. And so what's happening is all of that with the saturation, all the toxins get loosened up. And then we bring it back to the core. So that's the preparation of the body, is really preparing the Agni. And I tell people, you're not going to be able to digest that ghee if you don't have good Agni. So each is done in a very systematic, sequential way.
So everything has a reason and everything has a purpose. And like you were saying, it's so incredible that thousands of years ago, they already knew about it, right?
Yeah.
And now we're coming back to this time where is, revitalized. And, we have a location like SoHum where we are actually helping our clients go through that process in holding their hand. So just to tap a little bit further into that internal oleation, because then when you get here, then it's the external oleation.
Yes.
So it's the importance of doing both internally and externally and loosening up those toxins. So you do guide clients through how to take the ghee, when to take it, the frequency, like how long before they arrive to SoHum do they have to be doing that?
So we started after the second group call, which is the Wednesday before arrival. So then they start Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
And, like traditionally 3 days is the minimum of ghee. It can go up to 7. We find 3, maybe 4 is the sweet spot if we're doing it right, which is why we're having you communicate with us through our portal. Like, what are you feeling? What are the symptoms? And then we're like, okay, tomorrow you're done. No more for you. Or yep, let's push it more, or let's stay about the same. We kind of really guide it
Nice.
according to each person. And we're also sending a very specific herbal ghee to each person, because each person's so different. But what we're going for is that full saturation of the body. And there's specific like signs in the classical text that tell us like, okay, this person's good. We're good. We're at a good place. Now, if it's your first time and you're like, what, drinking ghee?
It's give me a shot.
We're easy. We're
Yeah.
easy on you the first time. And then, each time you do, we build it more. But I think it's just so beautiful because the composition of ghee, it's the perfect balance of short to medium to long chain fatty acids that also stimulates this hormone. It's called cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin is a hormone that stimulates the gallbladder to purge. And when you're taking, and if you people with gallstones would know this, that if you have this nice fatty meal, the gallbladder is kind of like square, and that's why they have pain after having a fatty meal. So we're stimulating this like purging of the gallbladder. So we're really like saturating the body with ghee, and we're stimulating the gallbladder through like the liver through the gallbladder to start purging. We're cleaning that liver. That liver is so important. It is the source of Bhuta Agni. It is probably, in my opinion, the second most important Agni in the body after the central core Jatara Agni. That Bhuta Agni is so important. And especially in our modern society, I think it's so taxed in our modern society. So beginning there, getting the liver to purge through the gallbladder through the ghee is like, I'm just like always in awe when I dive. Every time I dive a little bit deeper into understanding the science, it just makes me in awe.
I love when I have conversations with Vrinda, because she's like, I just went to surgery and I did this, and she talks about all the science behind it. And I just really love putting the two together. If you are not a doctor per se, you know that there is some sort of benefits to it, right? But when you finally understand and you put the science together with what you're doing, it really makes sense, and allows you to actually go through the process in a way that you're knowledgeable about what's going on with your body, right? So I think it's really important.
Can I say one more thing about
Yes,
Snap-on?
of course.
And I'm saying all that because I did a talk at the National Ayurvedic Medical Association on this topic of Snap-on and Panchakarma a few years ago. So that's why I'm able to get extra nerdy about it right now.
We love it. So keep going.
But the other really amazing and fascinating thing to me about it is we talked about how this is really facilitating the lipophilic toxins to remove, but that Snap-on also really facilitates the water channels to release. In fact, when you look in the classical text like Charaka, when it comes to Mutra Vahashrotas, which is the urinary tract channel, from the kidneys down and out, one of the ways they really target that is intense Snehapan, oleation, because it kind of puts you in this slightly ketotic state. And when you're in a ketotic state, you pee a lot. So it's like a flushing of that channel.
So it's a good sign. So
a little bit of like a hydrophilic toxin release too.
Nice. Great. Now, going back to then what is happening in the body, you touched on, you pay attention to the clients individually. So you are looking at how everyone's process is different and where they are, and you meet where they are at.
Absolutely.
So that tells me then that Panchakarma is a customized approach specifically to the individual. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So each person, during the design call, we're assessing what is their constitution and what is their imbalance, what is their state of Agni, their digestive fire, what is the state of their toxins, what vector of energy is everything moving in, how is Ojas, Tejas, and Pran, those levels, how are each of the tissue layers and subdoshas, like we're assessing all of this. So if you're looking at all these factors, you can't do a cookie cutter approach. You just can't. So we really do take all of that into consideration. And then we're determining, okay, this is what herb you're going to take every night. This is your herbal formula when you come. This is the ghee you're taking. This is how much ghee you can probably tolerate. This is the therapies that you'll be doing. These are the essential oils that we're using for you. This is the pressure we're using for you. This is the heat we're using. So on and on and on and on. Based on all of that, we're thinking through each one of those steps and making sure that it's facilitating. to the whole person.
So it is a unique approach that is to me just mind-blowing and beautiful, that you are looking at each individual's constitution and imbalances to make sure, because like you said, it cannot be two people are not the same, and all that. So once those calls have taken place before someone arrives, there is a protocol that is being created. And you just talked about the different herbs and the oils and the treatments and how all that. Can you tell us about what that protocol kind of looks like?
Yeah. So one, it starts with the sampan that we talked about. That's a ghee intake. Everyone's going on a mono diet, which is essentially Viteri with some extra things per the dosha. So that's one thing we are assessing is one person I may say, you are straight Viteri and you're going to have less food and that's it. Some people I may say, yeah, you can have the Viteri and enjoy some vegetables with it. Some people who need more nourishment, we may say, okay, make sure you have like 3 proper and maybe include this as well. So the diet is being determined as well. And that starts in the week before they come as well. There's the herbal formula that I talked about, which is a customized herbal formula. Every herb is customized to the person based on what they're coming to us, what they want support in. We're coming up with a formula that has that are generally, each of the herbs are generally supportive to the things that they're working with. Next is we're touching base with them every single day with a daily check-in to make sure things are okay. We're checking their pulse, we're checking their tongue, we're checking their blood pressure, making sure things are okay. So even say I come up with this amazing protocol, I'm like, I nailed it, it's good. There will be some adjustments that we need to make based on how things are going for the individual. After they come, there is a purgation, which is one of the panchakarma. That purgation, we individualize what are we using for the purgation, how heavy of a purgation, how light of a purgation, how much of a purgation, that's being determined. And then even for the 3 enemas at the end of the week, what herbs are going into that is determined. Every day while they're with us, they get therapy. Every day they're getting a 4-handed massage with oil. What herbs are going into those oils is determined. And then we're also doing a sweat box. What essential oil is determined, how hot. And then we're doing Shirodhara. Again, in there, we're determining what oil and oftentimes how warm to make it as well. We also have additional therapy. So that's kind of standard. Like most of the time, pretty much everyone is standard. Some people may have less sampan. Some people we may skip out on the enemas based on what's happening. But overall, that's kind of a format. But we also do additional therapies based on what challenges they have. So it may be a ridvasi, if they particularly have grief, for instance, or if they have heart challenges, that's a good one. But there are different additional therapies based on what they're struggling with. We'll say, yeah, let's consider doing these in addition to kind of the overall format.
Nice. So for those of you that have never done a panchakarma before, if this is something that you are considering, and then just thinking through all those imbalances that you're feeling, thinking through your medical history and knowing that that very first call, which is called the discovery call, that is really what is going to determine that protocol and that process, because it's customized to each individual. As Vrinda was saying, it's not like that blanket approach, is really customizable. So it's not like one size fits all. Okay, so now they're here, and now you open up all the different treatments.
Sorry, did I jump the gun on that?
Okay, it's all good. So one of the questions that we get often is specifically about the bastis, and this is the enema basti.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of questions about, do we do it ourselves? What is the benefit? How is that provided? So can you go into a little more detail and really talk also about the benefits of doing these enemas during the panchakarma process?
So the enema is the one part that people are like, you want me to put what and where, because it's quite daunting, that's not something we normally do throughout our life. In Ayurveda, a basti is targeting the colon, and the colon is the seat of vata. So this is the therapy to bring a sense of stability to vata and calm it. I always share with the clients that 80% of diseases are caused by Vata or are involved in Vata. 100% of women's female reproductive issues are rooted in Vata,
Wow.
according to the classical text. So not just Vrinda saying this. So this kind of end stage of the Panchakarma, it's like a bringing, so you're going through this like cleansing, and this basi brings a sense of like cohesion back to the body, because whenever there's cleansing, there is breaking down. To cleanse, you have to break something down, right? But then you need to kind of bring a sense of cohesion back to the body through the enemas. We select specific herbs based on each person. What happens at our center is you come in the morning, we have the tea prepared, we have the enema bags, and you take it to the room and you self-administer it. There are a couple of reasons why we do this. One is this is something that's amazing to continue after also. So if you have it like done for you, which we'll talk about in a second, why we don't do that, it's not sustainable after. You're not going to take this home. I'll tell you, I was a girl when I was 25. I was in med school and I was a girl who was throwing my back out at the age of 25, like falling and can't get up. Like that bad. It was like I was a grandma at that age. And bussies were the one thing, like I haven't had a single throwout since then. And it was the bussies. That's really what kind of that healed it for me, honestly. So it's really, really important for you to be able to do it on your own as well. The second reason why we don't is also a legality. It is invasive by nature. Ayurveda is not a licensed practice of medicine in the United States. And it's unfortunate, but legally we can't claim to prevent, cure, mitigate, treat any disease. And that includes doing invasive things. So we legally cannot, and it is what it is. But I think the blessing in it is we found that our clients are so well equipped to carry the principles that they're learning at home, which is really the point. Like, why do you want to come here for a week, make that investment, time, energy, financially, and then you go home and you go back to normality?
Right.
Like that's not the point. So it's actually been a blessing. We found our clients have great compliance after.
Nice. And it is what you're saying, right? It's like learning all these different practices. They're allowing to detoxify your body. That when you go home, you can continue that. So you can make it sustainable, right? It's about that sustainability and continuing to live a healthier life for the rest of your life. And I know clients that, continue to come here, once a quarter. People ask about the frequency. They do it once a quarter, twice a year, once a year, whatever frequency works for you. But to your point, it's just continuing that detoxification process.
Traditionally, according to that text, you're supposed to do it at the turn of every season. And the way I tell people is like,
I saw a question about that. Somebody was asking, like, when is the best time to do it? So go.
Yeah. So the turn of every season is the ideal time, because what's happening is even if you're living the perfect Ayurvedic lifestyle, it is getting quite hot in the summer. It is getting incredibly cold and damp and wet in the winter. So there are environmental things that influence us. And I also there's statistics like in Antarctica, there are toxins from South Africa or South America, like across it. It's just the nature of living in the world. You can't hide from toxins and accumulation dosha. So the classical texts say to do a bunch of karma at the turn of every season. And we understand that's not feasible for everyone. So I'd say once a year.
At a minimum. Yeah. And whenever you cannot do a full panchakarma, what do you recommend? Like a cleanse or?
So at our sister company, Ayurprana, we do home cleanses. And so we find a lot of people finding their formula to the whole thing to do panchakarma and then do home cleanses the other 2 times a year. And so that seems to work really good.
Nice. Nice. And how long are those cleanses?
Those are 9 days. So the format is similar. It's not going to, because we don't do like a personalized intake and we don't do custom formulas. You at least go through those processes, which is really, really good. Especially if you're doing like an intense one once a year, but it's about 9 days, but we support with preparation a week before, and there's like 10 days of support after also.
Nice. So the good news is that there is options, right? If you're looking at just doing something at home, you're not able to travel, or the timing doesn't work for you, doing a cleanse seems like it could be a good solution. And you do this at the comfort of your home with the support of the team. And if you can do a full panchakarma, obviously that is what is recommended. So that way you can detoxify the body. So I think to wrap that part of the conversation is really bringing awareness to the understanding that the body does accumulate toxins. And those toxins, when they're accumulated just for a short period of time, they not may be a big deal, but when they're accumulated for an extended period of time is when we start seeing symptoms and things that is our body talking to us. And I'm just curious because I see some of the questions here. I saw like, is this good for spine and the back pain? And someone talked about the gallbladder. Would you mind just sharing with us out of curiosity on the chat? Like, is there any particular organ or symptom? Like, are you having hair loss or dry skin, or are you feeling inflammation or constipation? Because all those things are signs, right, of accumulation of toxins. And this will be a good indication for you that it may be a good time to do a cleanse or a panchakarma. So feel free to share if you're feeling any symptoms.
And while people are sharing that, someone was asking, what is that process of determining dosha and all that? It's the design call, which is 2 weeks in advance. We spend an hour with you doing intake about literally everything, like from what's your poop like, all the way to what are you eating, what's going on, when did it start? And so we determine Agni, Ama, doshas, subdoshas, tissues, and that's like literally everything we're assessing. So someone was talking about gas and bloating, or dry skin and bloating. Those are Vata, straight up Vata symptoms overall. Without talking to you more, those are classically generally Vata type things. And so all that's a key. That's like one of the best, especially with the bussies. That's fantastic. And if you're not too familiar with Ayurveda and Vata, Pitta, Kapha, can you tell us a little bit about the science behind Vata, Pitta, Kapha and what they mean? And they're connected to the elements, the 5 elements. So can you tell us about it? So the way that in Ayurveda is based off of Sankhya philosophy. And the idea is that the relative world, everything that not source, the divine, but the relative, everything else outside is made up of the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Everything needs all of these. And so they're essential to the existence of everything. These 5 elements then combine to make the 3 doshas. These are energies of the body. Vata is ether and air, which I describe as the principle of movement in the body. Pitta is fire and water, the principle of transformation in the body. And Kapha is water and earth, the principle of nourishment and cohesion in the body. So these are all 3 super important. Like you can't exist without principle of movement. You can't exist without ether and air and cohesion in the body. And we're all born with our own, so to speak, blueprint of these 3 doshas. So some people are more Pitta, some people are more Vata, some people are more Kapha, some people are Pitta and then secondary Vata and Kapha, and so on. So there are all sorts of variations. We have our own blueprint, and that's what makes you, and me, and makes our bodies different. It makes the way we think different, the way we approach the world different. The goal is to be as close to our constitution as possible. But like we were talking about, life happens and seasons happen, emotions happen, toxins happen, all sorts of things happen. And so we get an imbalance of those doshas. And so our goal is to have awareness to prevent that. So going into the summer, I know I'm not going to have chili cook-offs every other week, right? And going into winter, I'm going to go outside with my head covered and warm and have a fire going on in my house. So you kind of go in preventatively, but then you're also working to bring the imbalance back to your blueprint. So that's the idea.
Nice. So probably some of you are kind of like looking at the 5 elements and starting to think about whether you're a Vata, a Pitta, or a Kapha. So feel free to share with us. I do see then that some people are having low energy, eczema. So all these. So would you say then that panchakarma can assist with a lot of the imbalances that we experience based on the accumulation of the toxins.
The whole goal of panchakarma is to bring stability and balance to the doshas by eliminating excess doshas, by strengthening the digestive fire. So the digestive fire is just so important. It's core. So I give the example of, say we both have the same meal. You go to town, I go to town, you feel just fine. And I feel like, ooh, that hurt. And why is the difference? Is because your digestive fire is probably stronger than mine. Okay. So the digestive fire is so, so important in maintaining balance. So panchakarma, it works on two levels. One is eliminating excess dosha, strengthening the digestive fire to prevent the reaccumulation of dosha, and also eliminating the ama, the toxins that have accumulated. What happens is when these doshas go out of balance, our agni gets shifted, and then ama toxins accumulate in the body. So panchakarma's whole goal is strengthen digestive fire, burn toxins, eliminate toxins and excess dosha. So that's what it's doing. That's really what it's doing.
I guess that is the whole reasoning for the sequencing of everything that you just went through, right? It's like going through in a particular order to make sure that everything is being taken. So it is very detailed, right? It's very specific to what we're trying to achieve here. Now, from an Ayurvedic perspective, we do say that it is a holistic approach. So it's not only about getting rid of those toxins at the body level, at the organs, but also the mind and the spirit. So can you tell us about how does panchakarma help with detoxifying the mind and the
so
spirit?
In the design call, one of the first things I tell people is I ask for permission to dive into their emotional world, because in Ayurveda, mind and body are so connected. And even if they're coming just for their eczema, like Sonia was sharing, or low energy, like Deborah is sharing, physical things they're coming for. Every single time we find that while they're here, emotions are coming up. It's because with the decrystallization of the ama, it's physical and emotional too. It's just the way it is, it's every time we find people come and they're not coming for their emotional stuff, but it just comes, it just comes out. And we really support that, not by saying, you should feel this way, you should feel that way. It's more just holding that emotion, allowing for the release, because once it's released and if you're able to look at it without judgment, just like your toxins, you're not looking at judgment, you're just allowing it to just be free. Letting it go, allowing your body to be free of it. You look at it with non-judgment. We sit with them. We just sit with them with their emotion, allow it just to come out. And most of the time that's done. That's all we need to do. We just need to be with them and be present and show love and compassion no matter what. Tell them to stop judging it. Oftentimes they're like, I'm so sorry, I'm crying, I shouldn't be treating it this. And we're like, that's the process.
That's the process.
We welcome it. And then if there's additional support needed, we do have this amazing psychologist that's joining our team in a couple of weeks, actually. So we'll be having someone to kind of hold that container even more. But so far it's been fabulous.
Beautiful. It is important to know that it is a container. It is a place that you're held and nurtured throughout the process, because oftentimes you can feel all those emotions just coming out of nowhere, like you were not expecting it, and just realizing that it is okay, and this process is holding you through that. It's the detoxification of everything.
I can't think of too many diseases that they haven't found some correlation with stress or some correlation with whatever.
Sadness, anger.
There's literally I'm gonna butch the name of it, but there's a heart condition. It's literally called something like broken heart syndrome. There's structural changes that happen in our body with emotion. So it's not like completely unknown to the Western allopathic world either,
So that is something to be expected as you're going through your panchakarma process, allowing that release of emotions, thoughts, feelings, and all that. as a holistic approach to the healing of your being, because it's not just the healing of your body, it's the healing of your mind, body, and soul. So now we've gone through the physical, the emotional, the different practices. We talked a little bit, not much, about the different treatments. And this, we're going to actually set up another call. So we will invite you to join us again. Just be in the lookout for those email invites, where we will go specifically into what is the Abhyanga, the benefits of Abhyanga, the Sweatna, which is the sweat box, and the Shirodhara, which are the 3 key signature Ayurvedic treatments that we do here at SoHum. So we'll go into that in a different call, so we can give you all the good stuff, all the details that you want to know about that. But the other thing that is important is that there is also other healing practices that now take place here during the Panchakarma.
Yeah.
Like the kirtan and also the sound healing and the homa. Can you tell us about those and how they help the holistic approach?
So our goal again is to not, you have this amazing experience and you go home back to like your normal life. We want to open everyone's heart and eyes to a way of living Ayurvedically, which is really living in harmony with nature's rhythms, really living in harmony with your own physiology. And so we have this morning sunrise ritual in Brahma Muhurta, which is like this really auspicious time according to Vedic tradition, where it's before the sun rises at dawn. And the energy is so subtle and light. And it's so interesting to me when we started doing this, we're like, let's just 6:30. And everyone questioned, are people going to show up? I don't know. And it is the most attended activity because it's so powerful, so powerful. We do this, we do a homa, we do a fire ceremony with it. And I think just that it allows also the awakening of the body, which is equally important in the healing process of anything. So we are talking about emotions. So this is like bringing awareness. When we have great awareness, we make the right decisions naturally. We have yoga, breath work to move prana. You need to have prana moving to have good cleansing, and organized prana, not just like scattered prana, like organized prana for the facilitation of cleansing. And then we also have really kind of nourishing activities, because Panchakarma can be intense for people. Like I said, it is sometimes it's not even the physical that's intense, it's the emotional part that can be intense. So like a balm on the heart and a balm on the soul in the process. We have the kirtan with David Newman, who's this amazing musician. He's traveled the world doing kirtans. On Wednesdays, we have sound bathing with someone so talented, sound bathing, forest bathing as well. So just kind of like this way to kind of soothe and put a balm on the entire system, like physical, mental, and emotional, and then also bring a sense of awakening and awareness, so that the that's where Dr. Lai will always say healing is where there's awareness, like when there's
that is powerful
awareness. So
healing is where there's awareness. Good. And people have asked before, like, can I do a panchakarma at home? And I think everything that you have described, it really highlights the importance of actually doing that immersion and like going to a place where you can be held and be assisted and nurtured by, the proper individuals who have experience, who have the knowledge, like you, I know so many clients that call in and they specifically are looking at working through women's health, and having the expertise, the medical and scientific expertise here is just so powerful. So now it is not the 7 days only, and it's also not the 2 weeks prior, but there is also a post panchakarma. And this is something that we see that a lot of clients are now that have gone through it. They're absolutely loving it. Actually, we just finished one of our webinars with people that attend Panchakarma, and now are members of the Living Wisdom.
Yes.
Can you talk about the importance of that integration? What is integration, and what does SoHum offered for that integration?
I think we've all had these experiences where we go to something or a life-altering experience, and your vibration gets like whoosh, like wow, and you feel amazing, you feel great, and then afterwards you kind of go back to normal life. And it's, some people actually kind of go from here to here because they kind of miss, they long for that, and they don't know how to have it in their day-to-day life. And to me, that's integration, is integrating into your normal life, because my belief is like, the point isn't to live at SoHum forever. I mean, we'd love for you to live at SoHum, but that's
just
not the
move
point.
over. If you were to see, we're gonna move the camera in a minute so you can see the beautiful place, the location. But
Yeah, the point isn't to live, you can't escape, because, and the point is never to escape, because our journey, like we were saying, you know, our journey, SoHum means I am that, I am source. Our journey back to source is learning to exist in harmony with what our karma has brought us. And so, but how can we do that with an experience like this, integrated back into our life in a way that when we go back to normal life, instead of going from here to here, or even here back to normal, what you were before you came, you're going from here to like here even, you know, so your overall living is elevated. And so that takes work after, like we talked about, it's not just a cleansing, it's how you're, after you've cleansed, it's like if you cleanse out a garden bed, that's no use unless you're putting something, planting something in there, you're growing something beautiful from that. So we're cleansing, and after, how are you, what are you planting? What are you growing? How are you re-nourishing the body? What nutrients are you bringing? How are you existing on a day-to-day basis? So we have a home check-in. About a week or two, we kind of let people gauge that, just to make sure everything is going good. We have like a whole routine of how, a step-by-step, like how to bring your diet back to normal. You don't go back to hamburgers. Like it's a step-by-step approach.
no hamburgers. Maybe an after, but no.
Or enchiladas, whatever
Right.
your guilty pleasure is. It's not a jump. And so we have a home check and making sure everything is going well. And then if you choose, you can continue on with consultations with that practitioner to really kind of bring that. Before you leave, we do create a going home protocol with, okay, we're going to do herbs, but slightly different. I encourage you when you go home to really dive into pranayama. I think that's gonna be powerful for you. Here's some breath work you can do. Here's some foods that you should be eating, incorporating. We have a whole going home protocol. But to sustain that, we have the check-in, and we also have what we call Living Wisdom coaching series. It's where you can come once a week, or you can submit your questions if you can join in person. And that sense of community is like where you're going to be held. We at Ayurveda, we really believe in healing in community. That's the key to sustainability. That's the key to compliance after, is community. And so these sessions are just beautiful because you kind of find a community that will support you in your journey moving forward. And we talk about, like today, we didn't even talk too much about like herbs or food. We talked all about just like emotions, emotionally, specifically around the liver and anger. And it just turned out the conversation was about healing of all of these beautiful women's relationship with their mother. Like that's just kind of what came out of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we're much more physical. We're talking about like what to eat. We're doing cooking demonstrations. So that's the point of those sessions.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the whole program by itself is not just the 7-day, because I saw a question like, how many days is it? It does, you check in on a Sunday and check out the following Sunday. However, after you heard, there is all those pre-arrival calls,
Yes.
as well as the post Panchakarma call and the membership with Living Wisdom. Now, I saw another question about the contraindications.
Yeah.
So before we go into the contraindications, can you tell us who is it ideal for? Like who would be the perfect candidate to do Panchakarma?
By and large, I think most everyone needs it.
Okay.
Because like I said, everyone is facing changes of the seasons. Everyone's facing environmental toxins. Everyone's facing their own emotional roller coaster of life too. And so I think everyone can benefit. And there are contraindications. You need to be strong enough to undergo Panchakarma. Now, we're pretty good about people who have weakness in their body to say, look, if you want to do some sort of cleansing, we're happy to support you, but we wouldn't do XYZ. You know, like we're going to modify, we wouldn't do XYZ. Like, let's lose that. Or you're going to have more than Viteri. We're going to actually tell you to have more of the extra beautiful things that chef is making. So we cater it that way. But you need to have strong strength. You know, you can't cleanse something. Otherwise it's going to, if it's weak, otherwise it's going to fall apart.
Okay.
So that's key.
So it's not like it's particular to one thing that we're treating. It's just in general, anyone feeling any imbalances in the body. And for those contraindications, can you just go through them?
Yeah. So think cleansing is breaking down. Pregnancy is building. You're building a human being in your body. You do not want to break down during pregnancy. So pregnancy is definitely a no-no. Similarly, breastfeeding and nursing, you need to provide nourishment to another human being. You do not need to break down during that period. You need to keep nourishing, to keep supporting your child, your baby. So those are two contraindications. People come to us, they're like, I really want to do it. I'm nursing. We're like, it's just like however many more months away or a year away or something. Just sit tight.
So if you're planning on getting pregnant, just think about doing it before.
100%. That's a strong invitation.
That's a good one. So that baby's like
talk on and on. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist, so I can talk on and on about like why doing it for fertility is so important, and even prescribed in Ayurveda, but separate topic. And then surgery, because again, your body was broken down, things were removed. It's not the time to be breaking down again. So we ask for 3 months from surgery. If you've done panchakarma in the previous 3 months, another reason to not, like, you don't want to keep breaking down. And then, chemotherapy and radiation, that's a little bit different reasoning. Chemotherapy, the vector of energy is towards the periphery. You're taking something in, you're ingesting or getting it through your IV, and you want it to spread out to the cancer. That's how it works. Panchakarma's vector of energy is in, down, and out. It's like this way. Chemotherapy is this way. So we don't want to go against that. So we try to work with 3 months after that. And then we also don't like to do it if there's active cancer. Again, there's already breaking down. We may say, like, come, let's do herbs, let's do a great diet, let's do some body work, but panchakarma is probably not the best. And we do have offerings here that aren't panchakarma.
Yeah. And again, if you're thinking about doing panchakarma, just feel free to reach out to us. You got that email with the invitation and the link to register for the webinar. So feel free to email us your questions. Feel free to set up a call so that way we can just get on the phone with you and answer any questions that you may have and make you feel comfortable about the decision that you're making.
And like questions like Nicole, if you have specific questions, shoot us an email,
send it over.
And Sandy also is able to connect you with a if she's feeling like, look, you really probably need to talk to a practitioner to make sure this is good.
That's right.
She has this, like, she does set you up with a practitioner to talk for a few minutes and make sure it's good.
That's right. Well, this was incredibly helpful. I hope you found it helpful and educational and answer at least some of the questions that you may have had about panchakarma, specifically about the science behind it, specifically about how it works and how everything is correlated and how it actually benefits your body at the cellular level, at the organs level. Because it's not just showing up and doing, it cleans or a detox. It does have tremendous benefit to the mind, the body, and the soul. And I really appreciate you taking the time to, I learned so much in this call. It's incredible. I absolutely love it. So
this I could talk on and on about. So
I know.
This is fun for me.
I know.
Can
and I want to see if we want to go. Yeah, go ahead. If we want to go through some of the questions here before we let you all go, let's go through the questions. So
there was a question about why 7 versus 21 days. So traditionally, you could do up to a month if your body's strong enough. It really is determined based on your body's strength. We do have people stay here 2-3 weeks at a time.
We do.
So that can be discussed with during your design call. If like, hey, I actually want to stay for 2 weeks. Great. We would just program it accordingly.
Yeah, just let us know when you email us if you're interested in 1 week. The determination of whether it's longer than that is decided by the practitioner and you. I have another question here, whether we serve onion and garlic.
Yeah, so the chef is really great. So like I'll just say this, each person's dietary restrictions we cater to. So there isn't just like everyone eat the same thing. So we have people that are like, I cannot have this. Okay, chef works with that. Okay, I can't have this. So we really cater it. And some people are very strict about no onion and garlic, and we don't use onion and garlic in our cooking, except for maybe a couple of things that I mean, we'd have to ask chef to clarify, but we're really sticking with the sattvic, like clean diet in that way.
The other question from Nicole was, what about 2 months after a 30-day water only fast?
I would probably, I mean, I think it depends. I think it depends on your constitution. If you're super guffa, maybe, but I would probably say wait a month. Like that's pretty intense. That's pretty intense.
Yeah. And thank you, Suzanne and Leela. Everybody's saying that it was very informative. Cheryl, thank you, ladies. Don't go yet. We want to go through all the questions.
Oh, Dr. Lai.
Yeah, here's a
There
question.
was a couple of questions about that.
Is Dr. Lat at the center?
Yeah, so he's such a beautiful giving soul. So he's in India 6 months out of the year.
That's right.
He has a free clinic over there, and he also does panchakarma there. But so he's in India 6 months out of the year, and then he's here 6 months of the year. So January through June, he's here. There are limited spots with him. He isn't 30 years old or 40 years old anymore. Right. You know, he needs rest, and his priority is leaving a legacy with the students. So he has limited, he sees a fixed number per week. They will be in front of students because that is his priority. And then the rest are guided by us. Yeah.
That's right. And I would like to add to that, the whole program was created by Vrinda, Mitesh, and Sneha together with Dr. Ladd, and their expertise and the fact that they are Ayurvedic practitioners that train under Dr. Ladd. You're being held by Dr. Ladd's, right and left hand, basically, the times that he's not here. So you're still getting all that treatment and care.
And we work as a team. If there's
everybody
anything
works
that
as
I'm
a
like,
team.
I'm really kind of confused about this, we have the ability to reach out to him. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Here's a question about the pricing. Does it depend on the room and the total of the week? It does depend on the room type and the month that you come, and there is seasons, obviously. So feel free to reach out. If you're interested in booking, feel free to reach out via email and we'll answer all your questions. How does taking ghee affect someone with cholesterol?
If you have, one, there's been studies on this actually, and they found because you're taking it first thing in the morning is purging. They've actually seen an immediate decrease in cholesterol, but we also use flaxseed oil in the Snap-on because it's so scraping. So we find that we've observed Dr. Ladd and ourselves also, if someone has a lot of guffa, we'll use flaxseed oil instead. So
great. Great. All right. So if there is any other questions, feel free to send them. I do have some exciting news to share with all of you. Not only that we opened this amazing place to be able to hold you all here and assist you and hold your hand and nurture you. But also we have a special right now going on, $700 off for anyone that signs for Panchakarma between now and the end of the year. So if you do want to take advantage of that, it's a really good special offer, considering that we also still have the introductory rates from the time that we opened. So if you're ready, you want to send that email, we'll take care of you and take care of your reservation. And the other thing is we are also planning to do a specific themes retreats here at SoHum. And Vrinda and I were talking about this yesterday. The first one that we're looking at creating is specifically about women's health, and is going to, go over emotions, feelings, sensations, the organs, the reproductive system. Just tell us more about it. Just a little sneak peek. Don't give too much because we haven't. This is basically off the press. We were just talking about this yesterday.
So the vision behind this is to bring a sense of healing to women. And we want to, again, do physical as well as emotional and physical and mental, because over and over again, we find issues in the reproductive space that is so connected to that chakra. and that womb space and the energetic womb space. So we want to bring a journey to our clients of healing physically, and we'll give herbs for the physical, whatever you have, but also specific activities. And it's a truly immersive experience to unfold that chakra and bring true healing, and therefore true healing to your whole physiology.
Nice.
So that's
more to come.
second thing.
That's right. So more to come in that one. If you're interested and want to know about the women's retreat that we're putting together, that is coming soon, we'll send more information via email. Also feel free to reach out.
Can we get a hand raise? Like, who would be interested in something like that? Like, literally, we're talking about this yesterday.
Just say me on the chat. Can we see all those me's? Let's see who are interested. Me. Cool. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. And again, it will include a lot of these Ayurvedic therapies and treatments, as well as going deeper into, the mind, the body, and the soul, the emotions, and all those things. It will be a true journey and immersion to help heal just all the way around, and also building community.
Yeah.
Just having a beautiful group of women that are like-minded, that are going through the same things, that have similar experiences, and that can help heal each other. It's not only about coming to a place where you're healing, but having that community where everyone is helping each other heal. So thank you for sharing that. A lot of you are interested. We're looking forward to sending more information. So with that, thank you so much for all the information and education. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us. Be on the lookout for the schedule that we're going to send for these upcoming webinars that we're going to be doing once a month. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.
Thanks.